Oh my God. This is just... Oh my God. I've actually got a tear in my eye. I have got one chance to get this right. I'm here at Stansted Airport, and for the very first time I'm about to take this channel abroad, because tomorrow there is going to be a total solar eclipse. Now, I've never seen one before, and I'm not just talking about travelling somewhere locally to go and watch it. I'm about to get on a plane to Madrid, a train out into the countryside to try and find somewhere quiet to watch the moon pass in front of the sun. But the most ridiculous thing about all of this is that the bit that I am going to see is only going to last 70 seconds. But there's something mesmerising about a total solar eclipse that makes people do exactly this. People travel thousands of kilometres, they book hotels years in advance, they chase clear skies, they climb mountains, all to get this one brief view of the moon passing in front of the sun. This year, I've decided to join them. So I've arrived at the hotel in Guadalajara. Tomorrow is Eclipse Day. I think it's time to get some sleep. Right, everything has made it here. I now just need to do quite a significant charge job, but hopefully that is enough cameras to catch everything. Right, today is Eclipse Day. I've got a few hours before I need to head out anywhere, so I've actually got one quite important decision to make. Where am I going to watch this thing? Because I know I'm already in the path of totality, but finding the perfect spot to observe this from is actually a little bit more complicated. So I've been over this process a few times. The first decision was actually which country. I originally looked at Iceland, and honestly, Iceland would have been incredible. You've got these huge landscapes, mountains, glaciers, and putting a total eclipse against that sort of scenery would look amazing. But there's one thing I care about more than the scenery: cloud. Because it doesn't matter how spectacular the landscape is, if there's a big grey cloud sitting between me and the sun, it's over. And Iceland has a much greater risk of cloud, so I started looking further south. Spain immediately became much more attractive. It's not necessarily that Spain has better scenery, it's that for what I'm trying to do, the weather gives me a better chance of actually seeing the eclipse. And for this particular trip, I will take a slightly less dramatic landscape if it means I actually get to see the thing I've travelled for. But then I had another decision to make. Because Spain is huge, and there are some absolutely incredible places along the eclipse path, so why come here? If I go further north, there are some stunning landscapes, but again, I'm starting to worry about clouds, and that's probably the biggest enemy I've got. If I go further south, the weather gets more attractive, but then I start running into another problem: mountains. Spain is obviously a very mountainous country in places, and that's beautiful until you've got an eclipse happening very low in the western sky. And this particular one will be happening around about 7 degrees above the horizon. Suddenly, a mountain range on the horizon could completely ruin my view of the sun. So I'm looking for this slightly awkward combination: the path of totality, clear skies, open western horizon, and accessible. And that starts to push me towards central Spain. Around Madrid and Guadalajara, I've got this much more open landscape. I'm still in the path of totality, I'm close enough to Madrid to actually get here reasonably easily, and crucially, I'm not surrounded by huge mountains on the western horizon. So, this is where I've ended up: Guadalajara. But even Guadalajara still isn't good enough. I need somewhere specific, because remember, I'm trying to watch the sun disappear only 7 degrees above the horizon. So I need height, I need an open western horizon, and ideally I need somewhere where I'm not going to be surrounded by hundreds of other people. So I've been looking at the hills around here, and this is where I've landed on: Pico del Aguila. It's high enough to give me a really wide view, it's got the western outlook I need, and it's far enough away from the main built-up areas that hopefully I might actually have the place to myself. There is, however, one fairly significant problem. Pico del Aguila is around 10 kilometers from where I am right now, and outside it's about 37 degrees. So this might be a terrible idea, but I found my spot. Okay, so I'm about an hour and a half into the walk from Guadalajara right now. It is hot, and this is me going off script right now, so this is a bit of a rarity. I am absolutely stacked on water, probably carrying a little bit too much and weighing me down. However, always better to be over-prepared. However, I found my peak, Pico del Aguila, right there. And hopefully, in the next 45 minutes, we're going to make it there. Okay, so we've now been walking for around about an hour and a half, and I have to say, walking all this way in 37, 38 degree heat probably wasn't my best idea. However, it will hopefully be worth it. But as you can see, I've made it to the foot of my peak for this evening, Pico del Aguila. And actually, as opposed to being the only opportunity for a bit of shade for the last half an hour, this is a really good chance to talk about some of the fascinating geography that's in this area. This whole region is known as the Alcaria Plateau, and it used to be a significantly higher plateau than it is. And actually, the peak of the original plateau is marked by the peak of Pico del Aguila behind me. Now, you can see at the very top of it, you have got a white cap. Now, all of this area is made out of limestone and marl and conglomerates, but the very top of this peak is made of a slightly more resistant limestone, hence why it's been able to withstand the erosion that has been around for millennia. And as a result of this, you do have a ridgeline that is capped by this white limestone that disappears several kilometers into the distance here. But underneath, you can also see that there's quite a lot of orange soil and rock underneath that. And these are more of the iron-containing soil and rock compounds that have oxidized over many millions of years, giving it that orange color. So Pico del Aguila is where we're going to be ending up, but this is part of a much wider system filled with fascinating geological history that gives us the perfect opportunity to watch this eclipse tonight. Okay, so the time is 3:30. We've got about 3 hours to go until the eclipse happens itself. I am about halfway, 2/3 of the way up towards the peak here, and it's a good opportunity to have another break in this heat. But it's also a great chance to explain the principles behind the main event of the day, the eclipse. Now, I'm a geographer. I adore the subject and everything about it. I love the planet and all that it offers. But deep down, I'm a scientist, and specifically a physicist within that. And most importantly, space. That's my absolute favourite. I adore space. If somebody offered me a one-way ticket to disappear off into deep space to go and see stars and planets that nobody has ever seen before with zero chance of coming back, I would be the first in line. I just love every bit about it. Which makes this opportunity to come and see such a special event in an amazing location completely unmissable. Now I'm going to try something here, and I might look a little bit stupid. I normally do. It's fine. It's a bit of VFX. Might work, might not. We'll find out. Here's the sun, Sol. It's what gives all of us life. It's what made all of this possible in the first place. It's about 150 million kilometers away from us here on the planet, and it is massive. But more on that in a second. Here's the Earth. Everything we've ever known and ever loved exists on this small blue marble. Your 1,000,000,000 cosmic existence happens here. And here is the moon. This is our nearest celestial neighbour, and frankly, it's the main event of the day. Now, these clearly aren't to scale. If I made them to scale, it would look ridiculous on your screen. Okay, so we're going to make this slightly off scale, but try and make it as realistic as we possibly can. The sun and the moon are the most important factors within this. As we said, the sun is about 150 million kilometers away, the moon's about 380,000 kilometers away. But what's significant about that is, the sun is about 400 times further away from us than the moon is. But the moon's also about 400 times smaller than the sun, which means that on the odd occasion that the moon happens to pass directly in front of the sun, it completely covers it. And that is known as a total solar eclipse. It is complete chance that the ratios happen to line up. Now, the shadow that's formed by this event is actually quite small. It covers a tiny portion of the planet, and it moves across the planet at incredible speed, hence why I've only got 70 seconds to try and observe this event and capture it for all of you at home at the same time. But that's what makes all of this so special. It's a rare event, it passes so quickly, but it's the product of complete chance. And it's beautiful, hopefully. So here we are, a couple of hours later. We are here at the top of Pico del Aguila and in the perfect position to watch this total solar eclipse, because in 2 hours time, at 31 minutes and 17 seconds past 8, the eclipse is going to be happening right over my shoulder just here. This is spot on. It is unfortunately going to be a little bit hazy with all the wildfires that are happening to the northwest of Madrid. However, you take what you're given. This is actually a very good opportunity to show you some of the surrounding area though. You can see that ridgeline extending down several kilometers in this direction following the main road out of Madrid and Guadalajara. I've come down a little bit from the peak. I've met some lovely Spanish climbers on the way up and just wanted to give them a bit of space away from my filming. But this is an absolutely superb spot. And now we're just counting down. we are T-minus 1 hour from totality. And actually the reality of it all is now starting to sink in. I'm just in the middle of trying to figure out camera angles. We've got no less than 5 cameras pointing in different directions, trying to capture this both for me and for you at home. So that will be all good fun. The more time goes on, the more nervous I'm getting. This is going to be a really special moment for me, and I just hope I can get it right. But time will tell. The clock keeps on ticking. We'll see where we get. So we are T-minus half an hour from totality. It is getting incredibly close now. The light is beginning to drop a little bit. I'm getting increasingly nervous. Apologies if the audio quality has dropped a little bit. I've now swapped over to my phone because I think I've got all the cameras set up and ready to go. Just trying to preserve a little bit of battery. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of a tour for what we've got going on here. So I am going to be perched on that rock there with my main camera overlooking the Eclipse itself in that direction. Over here we've got the backup wide view camera ready to capture me in that direction. We've got the GoPro there set up for a slightly different angle, and we've even got a backlight ready for when it does get dark, so the cameras can maintain a bit of focus. And to no surprise, we've got the drone ready to go as well. We're off in that direction, giving us a lovely view of the Eclipse over the plateau. So we're getting close. I'm getting very nervous. We'll see what we can do. Okay, the time is 26 minutes past 8. It is now starting to get really dark. Everything is up in the air. Let me just adjust this. This is all going to be live. Oh, yeah, you don't want to be facing that way. Right, let's just tilt you up a little bit. How's that? That should be okay. Okay, drone is up and recording. GoPro's recording from a slightly different angle because I realised my phone is going to do absolutely nothing while it's controlling the drone. Okay. It's now incredibly dark. The temperature's dropping really rapidly. I'm actually shaking right now. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. Clearly, learning point at this point is if you ever take the opportunity to come and see a total solar eclipse, never look directly at the sun without safety specs. If you ever go at it with a proper camera like this one, do not point the zoomed in lens directly at the sun, apart from in totality. You can look at it during the moments of totality, and you can point cameras at it during totality, but the second the sun reappears, you're going to really damage your eyesight, or you're going to really damage your camera sensor. The wide view like you're seeing on the screen right now is absolutely fine, but here we go. 28 minutes past 8. We can only be a few minutes away. With the handheld footage, I'm going to try not to shake too much, but given the moment, I think that's going to be very difficult indeed. Just going to try and get some general B-roll of the area while we do this. We'll get the backlight going as well. There's a lot of thought that goes into these. As you can tell, we are completely off script now. What you are going to get is my completely raw reaction. This is unbelievable. Wow. 29 minutes past 8. So I've read an awful lot about this. I've heard about the 360-degree sunset that you get. And I guess we're about to find out. Now thankfully the sun is just a little bit above the haze that exists. So it's a little bit more clear than perhaps it would have been otherwise. Okay. Yeah, light is really, really disappearing fast. "30 minutes past 8. We are within a minute of totality. I'm going to vaguely attempt to get the diamond ring that forms right when totality hits. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, it's getting really, really dark right now. Oh my God. This is absolutely stunning. There we go. I'm dangerously zoomed in right now, trying to get that diamond ring. Oh my God. This is just beyond. Oh my God. There's the diamond ring. Oh my God. Right, you can see the corona around the sun. This is the most beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. Oh my God. I'm not sure if you're getting the 360 sunset, but it's like it is complete sundown. What an unbelievable moment. And it's like the world has just stood still. It feels quieter. I'm struggling to describe this. Try and get the diamond ring. There we go. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I've actually got a tear in my eye. And as quickly as it disappeared, the sun returns. I'm lost for words. That was unbelievable. I had a whole script ready for this moment afterwards, but it's all vanished in this moment. I'll try my best. I think we as humans often assume that we have everything figured out. We build and construct and develop and we grow. But actually in moments like that, where time just stops, you do really get a sense of just how insignificant we are. Those are two celestial bodies that have been doing that dance for billions of years. And actually, we have no part in it. We don't control it at all. And that makes moments like this really special. Something that is totally out of our control. And something that is so impossibly beautiful, but so brief. Yeah. Words escape me. Sorry for any existential terror, but that was unbelievable. And there you have it. We're 24 hours after the eclipse has happened. I've had some time to process it. I've come up onto the hillside to get one last view over the lovely Guadalajara. Yes, I travelled to Spain to watch an eclipse. I spent months planning exactly what country I'd be in, what cameras I was going to take, the specific location, the angles I was going to use. I looked at the weather, I planned the route. I tried to control everything that I possibly could. But in those 70 seconds, I almost entirely forgot about everything. I nearly forgot about the cameras, what I was trying to say, and I just looked up. But there's something special about a total solar eclipse that makes us do that. We live in a world where we're constantly surrounded by things that we've created. Buildings, roads, cars, phones, computers. We can predict the weather. We can send machines to other worlds. We can map the planet. We can calculate to the second exactly when the moon is going to pass in front of the sun. And yet somehow standing there underneath it makes you feel completely, ridiculously small. Because the universe doesn't know we're here. The sun doesn't know we're watching. The moon doesn't care that this is such a special moment for me. It's just doing what it's been doing for billions of years. And that's strangely comforting, because maybe we're not supposed to control everything. Maybe we're just supposed to notice some of it. For 70 seconds, I wasn't thinking about what I needed to do next. I wasn't thinking about work or stresses. I wasn't really thinking about the video. I wasn't thinking about myself. I was sat on a tiny patch of Earth, watching the moon pass in front of a star from 150 million kilometers away. And in that moment, everything that normally feels so important in life suddenly felt completely insignificant. But that's okay, because when you realize how small we are, you also realize how incredible it is that we're even here at all. One planet, one life, one tiny moment in an impossibly huge universe, and somehow we get to be here to see it. So yes, I travelled to Spain for 70 seconds, and I'd do it again. Because sometimes the most important thing you can do is stop trying to control your universe and just look up.